registered dietitian and owner of Eat Well L. Welcome to the Well In session, where we discuss hot topics that come up in my appointments with my patients. Just little tidbits that hopefully can help you through your day when you're working towards your health goals. Today, I wanted to talk about something that was a perspective shift, and it actually came up in back-to-back appointments, which I just found so interesting, and it was like my sign that I had to make a little video on this. When you are thinking about your food, your drink, your treats, any kind of snack, I challenge you to ask your food to do more for you than what it's taking. So that is the perspective shift. That is what we dug into for both of these appointments for totally separate patients with totally separate goals and totally separate food situations. So the fact that it applied to both of them just felt really profound to me, that maybe it's important for other people to think about too. So let's talk a little more about it and see how it might apply to you and your health goals. When you are making food choices or drink choices, during the time that you're eating or drinking and the time after, quite often we have a lot of feelings about if this was a right or a wrong choice. It's not so black and white all the time, but if you're feeling as you're eating, after you've eaten, that your body isn't quite right, or that you're not really sure you made the right choice, that's a great reason to stop and think about, what am I getting from this food versus what is it taking from me? So let's do a couple examples. In one example, this person was discussing how they just never really felt good after having alcohol. Their body just felt a little blah. They kind of woke up not their best. And we're not talking about getting drunk alcohol. We're talking about having a beer after work and then still not quite feeling at the top of your game the next morning, just because of how it's making your gut feel, your energy level feel. So we talked exactly about this. What are you getting from that? Because nutritionally, you're getting nothing. And that's okay. That's a fact of life. Sometimes we eat and drink things that we get nothing from nutritionally. We just need to decrease those moments so that we're filling our diet with food and drink that is giving to us nutritionally. So in this case, the beer. What are you getting from it? Well, maybe you're getting a social situation like a sports game or a retirement party, some kind of celebration, and the people around you are drinking and it feels good to participate. Okay, that's something you're getting out of it. Sometimes people tell me, well, when I feel stressed after work, this is what I go for. And I hear this a lot, and not just in terms of alcohol. So other things I've heard are like cookies, fast food, soda, beer, right? Anything that feels like a comfort in that exact moment is something that people reach for after a long day. So when we really talked about it, this person was really not getting anything from the beer the majority of the time. After a long day, drinking a beer, yes, they enjoyed the flavor, but there were other circumstances they were drinking that it would feel more joyful, more participatory, to get more pleasure from it than those moments when they're just kind of like dealing with the heaviness of a long day. And then on top of that, you're only feeling good in that moment. And then later you kind of feel lethargic and bloated. And then the next morning you feel a little foggy in this case. So this is an example of a food that is taking more than it's giving. Let's talk about something that's a little less obvious, because I feel that there might be some of you kind of rolling your eyes like, okay, we maybe knew that about alcohol, even if we don't apply those principles to our own life. Maybe we already knew that. So I had another patient with similar sentiment about chili cheese dogs, something they really enjoyed, something they've had in the past and felt kind of neutral afterwards, but this particular time had a second one and just didn't feel good afterwards. Lots of GI discomfort, details that you are welcome to tell me in an appointment, but probably not so fun to repeat on a YouTube video. So, when you're eating foods that give you pleasure in that moment, because it's something maybe you've been looking forward to it, and so really the anticipation is more exciting than actually eating it. Maybe it's a comfort food, like something that you always have when you're watching a game or at a concert or driving home from a relative's house that's further away, right? Habits can definitely define what kinds of things we eat. But in the moment, you're enjoying the flavor, you're enjoying the comfort of something familiar, and that doesn't last long. Then all of a sudden, maybe you're feeling bloating, maybe you're sitting in the bathroom all night, maybe the next morning you're not even hungry for breakfast, even though you should be based on calories, because you just still feel kind of ick from the processed food. These are all signs your food is taking more from you than it is giving. The nutrition that a chili cheese dog is giving you is pretty minimal. So if you ask yourself, what is this food giving me? How is it nourishing me? How is it fueling my body? These kinds of words can help change your perspective, because when we just think about calories in, calories out, you can apply a lot to that. I mean, a person could eat Snickers and chicken wings all day and they could get the calories they need, but they're certainly not getting the nutrition they need. So when you're thinking about your food, think about what is it giving to you? And then, if appropriate, what is it taking from you? And in those situations, if what it is taking feels bigger or less convenient or more uncomfortable than the benefits of what it's giving to you, maybe this is a food you should not include in your diet. That's a great point to loop somebody like me in. We can talk about that, figure out strategies for, okay, when you're driving home from your aunt's house and you always stop at this one place, what are your options? We can talk about if it's actually a food that you would consider is giving you a lot, but you're still feeling like it's taking a lot too. Like I hear this a lot with broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. If you're feeling uncomfortable after foods that are giving you nutrition and are fueling your body, that is definitely a good time to loop in a dietitian, because then we start to wonder what is going on in your gut. How can we either heal it or avoid it? And depending on the frequency, depending on the severity, depending on the foods, that will determine which way we're going. Are we avoiding or are we healing? So if you're ever feeling like you had a food or drink that is taking something from you, like your comfort, even if it's giving you some pleasure in the moment, stop to consider, what is it giving you nutrition-wise? Would you consider it a nutritious food? Would you consider it something that is giving your body fuel? That can give you a lot of insight on how to make plans for the next time you eat. Try to use all of these as learning opportunities. Don't shame, judge, or blame yourself for these moments, because the best we can do is say, wow, I never realized it, or I never thought of it that way, and then move forward with a plan to help your body feel better so that you are continuing to work towards your health goals. I hope this gave you a little new perspective on the kinds of food you're eating and how to plan and make some shifts when needed. As usual, feel free to reach out to me if you need some nutrition guidance or any extra support in terms of answering some of these questions. I hope you guys have a great day. and that you're continuing to work towards your health goals.